Okay, how's it going, everyone? We are here at the Digital Nomad Coffee Club, and today we've got an awesome speaker called Chris and Christoph. And yeah, what do we got to do? We're not going to have any coffee club after this for a few weeks, so that's going to be a little bit sad. We're going to miss out on that. But after Christmas or after New Year's, we're back on the 9th of January. Okay, what else have we got to say? This weekend and next weekend, coming up to Christmas, there's lots of Christmas events happening, so you may want to get involved in some of those. And one of the really good events that's going to happen this weekend is something at a place called Wildside. And from 4 p.m. till late, they're having a Christmas fete, a Christmas dinner. And if you go out on Neiman Road there, across to Canal Road and then down towards Hangdong a little bit, you'll find Wildside. So it's maybe 5 minutes from here. And it's a great place to see some of the local things around Chiang Mai and enjoy some Christmas food and festivities. So, a few years ago, I met Chris at the Nomad Summit, and he's been in and around Chiang Mai for a long time. And at that time, Johnny FD was the main man in the Nomad Summit, and during COVID and after COVID, we didn't really have any luck with Nomad Summit being on regularly. And then Christoph was in somewhere and he caught up with Johnny and then made a bit of a statement. And you'll hear more about that soon. So let's hand over to Christoph.
Thank you so much, Shane.
Okay.
Did that just turn off? Hello. Thank you so much, Shane. Yeah,
Okay. There's another one there.
Yeah, this.
Yeah.
Probably the battery's empty. Let's try this one. Yeah, seems to work. Thank you so much, Shane. Yeah, I think, I'm not sure if we actually even met at a Nomad Summit first or at a Nomad Coffee Club. The old one before COVID, so Shane has just revived this weekly concept, but it actually had been one of those legendary regular event formats here around Chiang Mai already long before COVID. And thank you, Shane, for bringing it back and having this weekly lighthouse event, this open stage for people to share ideas. And I really love to think back to one of the Nomad Coffee Clubs that I attended. There's one in particular that really helped my business as well. I don't remember the name of the person talking, but maybe you do. He talked about the value of video testimonials. You might have been at that event as well. It was over at the old Food for Thought. And so he was sharing his experience with how much having video testimonials on your website actually builds trust and helps you sell. That was back in 2018, I think, or 19. Today, everyone has video testimonials on their website, and who doesn't better should have. So that's one of the things that I learned from the Nomad Coffee Club, and so I was really grateful when I got this invitation to talk here today. And Shane, in particular, asked me to share some of my experience as a networker, as a connector, and help to build better connections, especially as a nomad when traveling the world. So, beyond what Shane just said, let me quickly introduce myself. I was born and raised in Germany, left the country back in 2017. Since then, I'm a perpetual traveler. And as a nomad traveling all the time, I try to keep balance between places that I like, that I return to, and exploring new places. And one of the reasons behind that is not only that I love to have a place that feels like home when returning to it. Chiang Mai is one of those. After COVID, until recently, Madeira Island was one of those. And a place very close to my heart is Tallinn in Estonia. For the last 8 years, I've spent every single summer at least 2 or 3 months in the Baltics, in Estonia in particular, because I somehow resonate very much with the mentality there, with culture. I love the nature, the food, and everything about it. But especially when it comes to this Nordic culture, that's the thing that might be a little bit of a red thread through my following talk, because people there are often perceived as distant and cold. And especially when you look into like expats in Tallinn Facebook groups and other online communities, there is this recurring complaint and often even translated into a meme, and that's about how hard it is to go dating up north or build connections. And I'm always wondering, like, where's this coming from? Because I feel like I have zero problems with that. And why that's the case is something that we'll maybe learn a little bit through what I'm talking about today. That is, when it comes to human connections, and this is more on the business side of things, like about business networking, but it to some extent also translates into personal networking, building friendships, building an inner circle. I'm getting there as well. But the foundation of that is always give first, and everything else will follow. Just to give you an example of a conversation that I had very recently, I caught up actually in Tallinn with a business partner that I had met years before, and we haven't met the entire summer. And we were like, yeah, let's catch up. Let's go for a dinner. And then we had this conversation that was super inspiring. He told me what he's been up to recently, all the changes in his life, the new things that he's working on. I told him about his. And basically, with every topic, it ended with one of us giving the other one another contact, someone who could help, who has something to offer or needs what the other one has to offer. And that came very, very natural. And basically, just with every topic, and we were doing that right away. Not like, oh yeah, let me remember tomorrow to introduce you to someone, but like, you know what? Let's do that right away. I'll forward your contacts to that person in WhatsApp and their contacts to yours. I mean, if you are, if these are people that you know and that know your lifestyle and how you build contacts, you don't need to ask them like, hey, may I forward your phone number to someone who might find that useful. Be careful with that in private life, especially when it's about dating and stuff. Don't do that. But when it's about business and someone offers something that's useful for the other one, you don't need to ask. If there's value in that, everyone will be grateful. And in order to not forget to do that the next day or something, just do it right away. And that creates value at the table that's invaluable. By the end of the conversation, when you after 2 hours pass away, you have your phone book full of new helpful contacts. And in this particular case, I know that 2 of them were calling each other next day. And they have now, in the meantime, closed the deal and earn money with each other. But also, there was a really weird thing by the end of this conversation, and that was like after we were like hyped up and sharing, and everyone was giving and receiving in return. Then he mentioned, like, this is a bit weird now because I recently reached out to a business partner of mine. So he reached out to a business partner of mine that I had introduced a year before, and asked. So this is in the context of like accounting and annual reports in Estonia and stuff. And so he had asked my business partner for a contact for an auditor. And my business partner obviously returned like, yeah, I can give you the name of a good auditor if you let us do your accounting for your new company. And I was like, That's not how it works. And I'm very, and that's what he said. I'm very happy with my current accountant. I have no need to change my accounting. But you put that price tag to giving me a contact for an auditor. That's very off-putting. That's like, I mean, why would you do that? And these are the things that make a huge difference. Like if there's something happening, if you go to the next step, if you maybe eventually make a person your inner circle, because you know if you give value first, it will eventually return or not, but then you just move on. So this is part of the, can be, I assume you guys are all more or less mobile, traveling the world. Some of you are returning here regularly. Some of you maybe have made this their temporary home or long-term home for, Shane, 14 years, right? 16. Yeah, so this might not apply so much to you, but for those of us who are traveling the world, going for a month here, a couple of weeks there, it is often part of those hidden costs that it's not so easy to really build lasting, meaningful relationships, because they build over time. They need repetition, and they need each of the partners to meet over and over again. So if you go to one place and don't ever return there, that's part of the hidden costs of a mobile business. I mean, any business in the end has to some extent people business. Even the most online-only SaaS businesses work better if you meet your suppliers, your infrastructure suppliers, your contractors in person. And so I guess you might all be aware of that. When traveling the world, it's not easy, but there are options, and I'll get to one of them later. But keep that in mind. The value first model helps a lot to build these relationships. Give first without attaching a price tag. Don't chase reciprocity, and if value follows, one way only, disengage politely. Don't start the conversation with like, I have this contact for you. What do I get in return if I show you the phone number? That doesn't go anywhere. I mean, I actually just, with the Nomad Summit, I had this conversation this week with someone who is currently not in the room. Someone told me like, yeah, I have someone who is interested in becoming a sponsor of your conference. I was like, yeah, great. And then the question was like, how many percent? What's in for me? And then the conversation turned weird. Because I was like, just a phone number, just a contact? I can't put a price tag on that. And I also can't give you a percentage. And it later turned out that that person even wanted like a lifetime commission, not only for the very next deal, but if we do more deals in the future, want a commission on everything. That's not how it works. I mean, my main job is in the insurance industry. I work as an insurance broker, and this is commission-based. So yes, I earn money from bringing people together, people who want to buy an insurance policy with an insurance company. But I don't get the commission for giving a phone number to the insurance company. I earn my commission for consultation, finding the right policy in the market, brokering a deal. There's work involved. Just giving a phone number will never earn you a commission, and for sure not a lifetime commission. So these are the 3 steps, the network, the community, and then the inner circle. I already mentioned inner circle. That's the people that you trust, where there is a regular exchange that is not always directly reciprocal. You know that with circle of friends. You have those friends with who, when you go out for drinks or for dinner, you take turns on the bill, and that works. Because you know, over time, this will balance out. And then you have those other friends, usually Germans. They want to split the bill exactly, and they're like, yeah, but I did not have that beef, and you had this extra beer that I'm not paying. Yes, that can work. That's very transactional, but that's probably not the people that will, in the long run, be in your inner circle. The inner circle are people where you go to the bar and you ask them, like, do you want to drink something as well? Yeah, okay, I'll bring it for you. and then you put the drink in front of them, and eventually they will return the favor. That's how it works. That's the inner circle. When it comes to events, like this one here today, they all need to somehow meet this magic triangle between connection, education, and entertainment. I'm now here for your entertainment. The speakers before and after me are usually the ones that do education, but all of you are here for connection. You did not only come here to listen to me, you also came here to see who is sitting next and right of you, who you will maybe later have a smoothie with, and build a network that might lead to community and might lead to inner circle in the next step. And as Shane introduced me as now one of the new co-organizers of the Nomad Summit, I want to share with you what we do as event organizers to make this connection part of the triangle stronger. I want to share some little insights from which you can also draw something for your event attendance when you go to other events. And that's how we at the Nomad Summit engineer connections. There are two examples that I want to give you, but the very first one, before we even look into how we make technology work, how we integrate it into the program, is we instruct all our volunteers. And Shane knows that, he's our volunteer coordinator. The main thing you need to do as a volunteer is not like guiding people left and right and telling them where the toilet is and where they find food. It is to be there and see if someone is standing alone. And I mean, if that person looks like intentionally standing alone because they're doing something on their phone, don't bother with them. But you know these events where you show up and you stand at where they have these cocktail tables, and you're standing at one of those cocktail tables and have your drink, and no one is joining you. And you're standing there alone. And you see other people that are in groups and they're talking to each other, but you might be too shy to just walk up to one group and introduce yourself. And so what you want at this point is one of those volunteers walking up to you like, hey, what's your name? Are you here for the first time? Let me introduce you to someone. And that is the big difference also when you host any kind and any size of event. A good host is the one that introduces. It's not about the food that you serve or the program that you offer. If you are the host and you welcome your guests, it's your obligation to make sure that those guests, where you understand they have a touch point, might have a connection, that they meet each other. And that's what we instruct the volunteers to do, but we also integrate that into the program with the help of technology. We did with this year, January's Nomad Summit, that for the first time, a little bit quick and dirty because we didn't test it enough, but we had this crazy idea. Now, with a conference, you usually have the stage program, and then there is a lunch break in between, and then there is an after party. These lunch breaks are very valuable time for connection. But if that is not orchestrated or engineered, that's a game of luck. Especially when it's like the Nomad Summit is happening here in the Shangri-La Hotel, when you have a buffet and a banquet table, then there are 10 people around the round table, and you sit down at a random table, and then you don't know what happens. Maybe there are cool people joining the table, or maybe not, and I guess everyone has experienced that situation, both the situations that you had the greatest conversation that happened out of serendipity, and the opposite as well. You were sitting there, and the people were all quiet and boring, and everyone was just eating, but that half an hour, 45 minutes didn't bring any value on top of the food. So no worries, at the Nomad Summit, food is great, but also we use AI to match people. So it was a wild idea that we just ask people beforehand in the web form for very open questions. It's not the multiple choice question. The questions like, what are you currently working on? What are the topics that are interesting for you at the moment? What do you want to achieve this year? These kind of questions. And then we exported that into a CSV file, and then we uploaded that CSV file into an LLM with the instruction to group people according to the seat arrangements that we had. So we had like, I think 20 tables with each up to 10 people, and each of them had a table number. And then the magic happened. So we were pretty sure this would also work without the magic. So we were even thinking if that fails, we just fake it. We randomly assign people to tables. But if people believe that there is a higher entity that assigned them, that there is a reason behind that, they will find the reason. So most probably that would have worked out as well. But actually we were super happy with what the AI came back with, because it also not only assigned people together, but it gave reasons. So it gave clusters and topics, like this is the financial planning table, this is the table for AI engineers, and everyone who was assigned to that table was extremely happy, because they immediately, and we didn't tell them what the topic was. We thought like, let them find out, and all of them found out. So I personally, I took part in it as well and was assigned to one of those tables. But then at one point I stood up and went to all the other tables and tried to listen into the conversation. And I had the list, like what table is this? What is the topic here? And it really, really worked. And so this is a way to additionally create room for connection. It's a thing that we definitely are doing again with the next Nomad Summit in January, and actually, to my own surprise, nothing that I had seen at any other conference in the meantime. So, I mean, it's kind of, if you think of AI and its possibilities, it's kind of an obvious solution, but I haven't seen it somewhere else. So if you're organizing events, take this idea, it's for free. Giving that to you doesn't cost anything, and it creates real value. So we do that again, and we have some more ideas in our mind that we're currently bringing to life. The other thing is we will gamify our name tags. So the name tags that people wear around their neck will not only have a name, but also a QR code and an NFC tag. And that means if you want to build a connection, you can just tap your phone that leads to a profile page of the other attendee, where they can then put up what kind of information and links they want to have, their WhatsApp number, their LinkedIn profile, their Instagram, whatever. But the cool thing is we measure that. So like every tap trigger for the no-code people here and AI and automation people, that every redirect triggers a webhook, and that will just be measured in a database. So we will not only measure like how many connections are being made, but also we can see whose person's code is scanned the most. So we find the super connectors and can reward them at the end of the event. And also we'll have some visualization of that. Don't want to give away too much of that yet because I'm super excited. But these are the little things where we try to take this connection thing to the next level as event hosts. But I mean, all for the good of building these connections between people. And that's what's happening here in Chiang Mai. But I mean, there are these Nomad events all around the world. So it's not only us here. I mean, the Nomad Summit has been founded in 2015 and is with that the oldest and longest standing one. But if you're traveling around other continents, especially in Europe, there is the Bansko Nomad Fest in Bulgaria every year in June. That's the biggest of them all right now, with around 1,000 attendees, full week, more like festival style. In Fukuoka in Japan is an event that is happening in October, like with a co-living program around it for a full month. But I think the Nomad Summit is the one that's currently based on or utilizing most technology and this conference style opportunities that come with it. So yeah, my key takeaway is you don't build freedom alone, and you don't build it overnight. So the things that compound is coming back to places, is building long-lasting connections. As I said, giving first, build yourself a reputation as a giver, and that will create a trusted circle across cities, and that will build business resilience. So one of the things that is always most important to me, just as a little side example, when I work with vendors, and we apply the same rules here for the Nomad Summit. I always try to be my supplier's best client. Not by being the biggest client, but by being the one that is easiest to work with and that pays invoices the fastest. This is really my personal goal, my personal challenge. So I'm not really good with deep work anyway, so I'm getting distracted super easy. But what I intentionally get myself distracted for whatever I'm doing is when I receive an invoice. I mean, not if it's an invoice from a big company. If my phone provider sends me an invoice, I don't care so much. But when I know that this is a small business, that's an individual, that's like a freelancer contractor behind that, for whom it makes a difference, then I stop immediately what I'm doing and pay that invoice right away. And that's based on an experience that I made myself when I was on the other side of the table, like I think 20 years ago. There was a customer who had a project that I was leading with other freelancers. It was a web project. I was doing project management and concept, and there was this designer and a techie. And the three of us put our energy together, and the customer had this requirement, like basically over the weekend, to create a massive project. So we were basically all three of us working day and night. The only thing that was agreed beforehand was an hourly rate, not a total project budget. And so by the end of the weekend, and when we delivered, we were a bit scared. When we summed up the numbers, we're like, oh shit, we know this customer probably knows what's happening, and he would have given budget limits if there were any, but we were scared. And so we wrote up this email, and it was, I think, 2 a.m, Sunday to Monday. And I sent the email with the invoice, and 5 minutes later, I saw response from the client. And I was, oh shit. And then I opened this email, and it had just 2 words. It's paid. And this person was then for years my favorite client. And when that client then at one point had some liquidity issues, he was very open with it. It's like, hey, there were some things going sideways. I have an issue here. We need to fix things for the next 2 months. It's all a little bit tight. I was like, yeah, no problem. That's the resilience. This is the resilience that your network builds. If you first build trust, if you first show your good intentions and that you're willing to give, then your business partners go with you. Actually, I just realized that we have the exact same example for what I'm talking about sitting here in the room. Meet Palle Beau. Palle is a radio expert and an audio guy. He runs podcasts himself, goes by his brand Radio Guru. His own podcast is the Radio Vagabond podcast. And since April, we are together with him hosting the Nomad Summit podcast. We have a weekly podcast where we share these exciting stories of people that make a living while being location independent, including people like on our episode 1, RJ, who is a Nomad Summit attendee, OG, and a remote fisherman. His passion is just go fishing. And so these type of stories we have on the podcast, and Palle has made us a really good price for producing the podcast. And I usually, when he sends the email, I pay right away. But when it comes to a big event like the Nomad Summit, there is some stress, not only mentally, but also in the bank account, because there's a lot of things that you need to pre-finance. If you want to make that happen, you need to order stuff. You need to down pay vendors. You need to put deposits here and there, while at the same time, these nomads with their commitment issues buy their tickets last minute.
Is that your way of saying I'm not getting paid this month?
Yeah, I wanted to say directly to you with some audience. No, no. The last invoice was not paid immediately, and I told Palle before, and look, this is what's happening, and he knew. We've been paying every invoice before that within 5 minutes, and so if I explained to him what the situation is, and he knows, he's been to Nomad Summit not only this year in January, but also at the old ones before COVID. So he knows what we're building here. He knows what we're working on. He knows many of the secrets that I'm not sharing with you today, like all this sick shit that is coming up. And so he was like, yeah, okay. So that invoice, I think, waited for 4 weeks, but he got the money. I mean, otherwise, I'm not sure why he's here. Maybe just to listen, or maybe to let's not go down that road. So yeah, the closing words for the conference would be a little challenge to you guys. If you want to take away something from that, and it's like, go outside of your comfort zone and just give it a try. Set yourself a goal for the next 30 days to introduce people of your network where you think they might be beneficial for each other. Not asking anything for that in return. Just like, I know this person is working on that, and that person has this to offer or might be interested in buying that. And just introduce them to each other and see what happens. And if you do that over and over and over again, it will come back. Not with everyone. If you see with some people it's just one way, then you know what kind of person that is. But with other people, it will come back with interest on top. And then it builds over time. You're giving something, the other one is giving you more back. Then you give more and more and more. And in the end, everyone has benefited, because the success of your friends, of your business partners, will never be forgiven by them if you were part of it, and they will share with you when they have something to share. Thank you very much.
That's been very good, Christoph. One of the good things about Nomad Coffee Club is we have the opportunity to question and have a Q&A time after this. So if you've got any questions or thoughts and you'd like to share them, please put your hand up or say hello.
Everyone except Palle.
I got so many.
Anyone?
Where was the conference?
Oh, glad you're asking. I happen to have flyers with me. It's in January here in Chiang Mai in the Shangri-La Hotel. Just take one and pass the others on. 16th to 18th is the main conference in the Shangri-La, and then there is a full week of independent side events. Another tool to build connection and to give back. The Nomad Week is an open platform to all our attendees to host whatever they want to host. So this year in January we had in the end 56 side events, and I think Victor was hosting one as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, no? And the other event. Yeah, there's a Digital Nomads conference in Da Nang as well, I think in March or April.
March.
Yeah, but what we do here is we offer this as a platform. We work with all the local co-working spaces, event venues, cafes, restaurants. That's also a thing of giving back and building a platform. When we came here, bringing back the Nomad Summit, we realized at first there is no big event in Chiang Mai for the community that has filled the void. So that was our opportunity. But also there is no platform or network between the co-working space owners. They all know of each other, they peacefully coexist, but they don't talk to each other. And that's a missed opportunity that we try to fill by building this platform and inviting them, not only to be part of it, so it's not a conference that just happens somewhere in a hotel and that's it, but it is followed by Nomad Week that is all across Chiang Mai and is hosting side events everywhere, including here. We had a full day Buildathon Hackathon event here, and we'll do that again. And yeah, basically every co-working space that you know in town is part of Nomad Week. And none of them have charged us for hosting event. They were happy to get this additional exposure. So we were giving, they were giving, and after that all concluded, we had invited them all to a barbecue in the garden of the Shangri-La Hotel. So it was like really nice. We paid for that out of our own funds. And the first Nomad Summit Revival event this year in January ended at a loss. We didn't earn any money with that. We lost about 5K USD. But that was part of the plan. I mean, we did not plan to lose money, but we planned to invest in building back the brand and invest into building a local network here of suppliers, of partners. We work with the university. Our volunteers at the event are locals, and we have our local suppliers, like the company that is printing these flyers. It's just a small auntie shop on the other side of the river that doesn't have any website or signage in English, just some good reviews. And so last year I walked in, and they were super friendly and super professional and delivered very fast. And so we keep coming back to them. We don't ask for quotes or anything. We know they have good prices, and they love that. So we sometimes send print files in the middle of the night, and then next afternoon they write, "Order ready," and then just go there and beep, and this really works. So we have some wild ideas now, for example, about our name tags, and let them produce some dummies, and we'll. Oh no, I'm not giving that away. But yeah, working with these local business owners, with the family-owned businesses, and building something in long term pays off on all levels. So they are happy to have us as customers. We recommend them. We come back next year and don't need to source again for suppliers. So it just makes sense to build these connections.
Uwe?
Hey,
What's your name?
my question is Gul. I'm from Mongolia. Like when you have something in mind, right? Like a goal, or let's say, just example, you're trying to find a job or a partnership, and then you have that in mind, and then you meet the people. What kind of? How do you really go about it? Do you tell everybody that, or do you kind of try to find the person that can help you, or you wait for somebody to share a contact? What would be the best approach for it?
I think that depends case by case. Do you have a very concrete case that we just can play through?
Yeah, let's.
What are you looking for?
For example, let's just say somebody's like trying to find a gig or a job, let's say, because it's general for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, at first, it makes sense to talk to people of who you know that they are working in a field or have a network that is relevant for you. So I mean, just spreading the words like, "Hey, I'm looking for a job," can work, but most probably it works better if you. I mean, now I'm not talking about like people who just finish university and looking for their first job. Then spray and pray might be the best. But if you have built an expertise, built a reputation, and are already somewhere in a business community, then you also, over time, you know the other players. I mean, at least if you are perceiving your job, your business as a people business. If you're not, I mean, if you're a trader or something, or a coder sitting behind your computer all day and don't talk to people, that will probably not work. But if you are, I mean, even my main job, my industry, the insurance industry, is a people business. You can only be really successful in this industry if you meet people, if you go to trade fairs, if you go to conferences, if you just visit the office, or if they're as mobile as me and just meet somewhere over a dinner. But meet people in person, and then you know their profiles. You know who does what, who needs what, who has what, and then you go a little bit more focused, more aimed to a particular person. Like, hey, we've been working on this and this together. You know, this is my qualification. This is what I can do. This is what I'm good at. Do you know someone who needs that? And that, I mean, this is the other side. If you have this reputation of being a giver, if you have given something first, then it is also very easy to ask. But if you build a new connection and you ask first before you give, that doesn't. The probability that it works is much lower.
Yeah, on that, can I ask a follow-up?
Sure.
So, two questions come to mind. Okay, guys. So on the giving first, usually I think I do that, but if there's a person and you never interacted with them or and you want to give first, how do you like make that happen? You don't want to suddenly go, hey, I want to give you something, right? Like, how does that go? And then on the people part, do you kind of just meet everybody and then see like where each one leads, or do you like target a list of people, kind of get like some names written down? I don't know.
Yeah, you can go about that very structured and make a list, but it really depends case by case, and it's the little things. There are always little things that you can give that don't cost you much, and the easiest is a contact. If you know someone who can be of value for the person that you're talking to, just like if you let's say you're standing in a bar and someone tells you, this is my industry, this is what I'm working on, and then you're like, hey, I have this contact that needs what you're doing. Here's the phone number. Call him or her. That doesn't cost you anything, and if it doesn't lead anywhere, that also doesn't do any harm. So if that person calls the other person and then finds out like, yeah, sorry, just bought the same thing that you're offering yesterday from someone else, then at least the other person knows it could have worked, just missed wrong timing. But that will still fall back positive on you. And another, I mean, one example it is very small, but I won't forget it. Happened here in Chiang Mai. I think back in 2019, I was an attendee at the SEO conference of Matt Diggity. And so I had bought a ticket, lowest tier, like $600. And I knew that only in the higher tier deluxe tickets, you get like the presentations and stuff. And I think I was sitting in a break at a massage chair, and then Matt Diggity, the organizer of the event, walked up, just talked to me, had a chat. I think he just kind of like the massage. I was like, and so we talked a couple of sentences, and then he pulled a key drive, USB key, out of his pocket, and just gave it to me. Actually, I still have that in my luggage because it's also a cool piece of USB drive with the conference logo printed on it, and that had all the slides on it. I guess he had quite a bunch of them in his pocket just for these kind of occasions. Doesn't cost him, I mean, technically, yeah, it costs him some cents, but walking around being friendly to the attendees, and if they are friendly to you, then give them that key drive with all the presentations. That's a ton of value for me. Doesn't cost him a thing. But now, 6 years later, I'm standing here and telling you what a cool guy Matt Diggity is. I guess that paid off. Maybe not with this very moment, but in general, that pays off.
Any other questions? Okay, free to go.
Closing word of the conference.
So one of the things that I like to say is that I'm a super connector, as my LinkedIn profile says, or I put on my LinkedIn profile. But my favorite thing, Chiang Mai is a fantastic place, and every year we have hundreds and thousands of nomads coming in and going out and coming back, and it's just great. I've been here 16 years, so I hear all their stories, and whenever I can, I'm always thinking in my head, you need to talk to this person, you need to talk to that person. And so it's just a great mindset to understand and have in your repertoire, just to be able to go up and talk to anyone. Everyone in this room has an interesting story. I mean, I just met Richard a couple of weeks ago and invited him along to a men's meetup. And so we have the men's meetup every week.
Just
and
the two of you?
Well, there was like 20 the other day. So, but then comes along, and then Eric, who's sitting next to him, also comes to the men's lunch. So they're sitting down having a chat today, and it's just great to be able to connect people and that sort of thing. So when you're in Chiang Mai, be especially open to making connections. And as you are nomads, you're traveling around, but you've always got a circle that you can be in touch with wherever they are. And so saying that, Nomad Summit is going to be 16th to 18th of January. If you have some special skill, we had a couple of yoga events last year. We had a couple of just get to know you breakfast type things. My men's meetup will be on the Nomad Summit.
He's talking about the Nomad Week, the side
Nomad
events.
Week,
Like
yeah.
the main event is more like is a business conference. It's all about like getting you from the entire journey from employee to remote employee to freelancer to founder, business owner, investor, like this traditional staircase to financial independence and location independence. That's the main conference about. So you won't find yoga classes at the Shangri-La, but the side events are open for that, and also you won't find any men-only events at least at our main event. They are very inclusive, and everyone is welcome there. But if you have less inclusive side events, do your thing. That's your platform.
Yeah.
And only yoga.
So but if you have any questions about Chiang Mai or anything, feel free to ask me. If you want to connect with Chris, if you have insurance needs or you want to come to the summit, connect with Chris. And apart from that, have a fantastic weekend. 4Cs here. They've got an Ethereum Chiang Mai conference and extended unconference and all those type of things going on here. So there's always some good things happening in 4Cs here. And it's also a free space if you want to do co-working. So if you haven't been here before, just go up, not those stairs, two of the middle stairs, and you'll be able to see what they've got on the third floor. There's a meeting room up there, a co-working space, and it's free. Just grab a coffee and then go up there and work. So thanks for coming.
And don't forget to talk to the people left and right of you if you go co-working.
Yeah, and as always, the networking side of the Digital Nomad Coffee Club is the special time. So that's from now until whenever you want to leave. Have a great weekend. See you next week. Oh, no. See you on the January the 9th. Thanks so much, Chris.
Any chance we can introduce each other, like 30 seconds? And, just after the event finishes, I'm not sure
Yeah, come as the first one.
Does anyone want to?
I mean, I want to hear what everybody.
Hello everybody, I'm Gilad, South African Israeli